What's popping, my guys? This is K.JAYtrends, and before we get to the news, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We said we are on our road to 1,000 subscribers, and I know we will get there. And peace. Now, news just getting in. After 3 decades, a murder trial brings focus back to the legacy of Tupac Shakur. Now, about 10,000 people were in the arena watching. One of them was Tupac Shakur, the number one selling rapper who had already become a hip hop icon at the age of 25. Away from the ring, on September 7, 1996, a bi-coastal beef that had been brewing for years in the music industry was about to reach its tragic apogee. Hours after Tyson left Hook sent Seldon face first to the mat, Shakur was hit by 4 bullets in his vehicle, a drive-by shooting just off the Vegas Strip. Tupac's right lung was destroyed. After 6 days of life support, he was pronounced dead. It took 109 seconds to settle the boxing match. It has taken 30 years for anyone to face trial over Shakur's murder. Now, jury selection began on Monday in the trial for Dwayne Keith Davis, known as KFD, who was indicted in 2023 on one count of murder with a deadly weapon in Tupac Shakur's death. Now, Davis, 63 years, has entered a not guilty plea. Prosecutors do not claim he fired the fatal shots. They say Davis orchestrated the killing in retaliation of an assault on his nephew shortly after the Tyson's fight. Now, wow. Shakur's death and the similar drive-by murder of his rival Christopher Wallace, better known as the Biggie Small or Notorious Big, less than a year later put uncomfortable light on the increasingly angry rivalry between East Coast and West Coast rap, and whether artistic disputes were turning into violent, real-world battles. Now, the KFD case is exposing just how deeply gang culture had become embedded in the industry, emblazing of the gangster lifestyle, embodied in an artist whose work both lamented the violence and cut many young black lives short while also glorifying it. Now, he was working through his trauma with his art, his music, his poetry, said former MTV journalist Abby Casey, who interviewed Shakur in 1994. And yes, the anger comes out in real life too through violence. Now, Shakur enters music scene both sensitive and powerful. Now, Tupac Shakur wasn't just about beats and rhymes. Coming up from a rough childhood with an absent father and an addicted mother, Vanity Fair reported, Shakur combined a love of hip-hop and other performing arts with classical poetry and Shakespeare. Look at Romeo and Juliet, he told the Los Angeles Times years before his death. That's someone serious ghetto shit. After moving from the East Coast to the Northern California, he joined the largest apolitical party-focused group, Digital Underground, where he first adopted the name Tupac and served primarily as a dancer. But he had much bigger plans ahead. Recording tracks in his spare time, Shakur secured a solo record deal, The Hype Man, for the ground best known for Humpty Dance, released by Tupac Lipsy, now and a politically conscious album touching on urban violence and police brutality. After a slow start, it was eventually certified gold. Over the course of his next studio album, Shakur's work ran on the gamut, from a sensitive ode of his mother, Dear Mama, to So Many Tears, a sad reflection on, and So Many Homies in the Cemetery. Now, the former student of Baltimore School of Art also became a critically praised actor in films alongside Janet Jackson, Omar Epps, earning his first role in Juice on the strength of his own magnetism after Crashing Friends audition. Now, 3 films starring Shakur were released after his death. But outside the studio and off camera, his rising success was accompanied by repeated legal battles and violent encounters. Now, legal trouble sent Shakur down dangerous path. Now, Tupac was charged with shooting 2 off-duty police officers during a scuffle in Atlanta in 1993. Those charges were eventually dropped. Now, the following year, Shakur faced his most serious allegation, convicted of sexually abusing a fan during a hotel encounter he said was consensual, the New York Times reported. Now, during the jury deliberations, Tupac dropped by a New York recording studio at the invitation of a producer to contribute to a track. He was held up in the lobby and shot 5 times while trying to get away. After undergoing surgery, he left the hospital against doctors' advice. The Los Angeles Times reported to appear at his sexual abuse sentence in a wheelchair, his left hand bandaged and the left side of his face swollen. Now, sentenced to a minimum of 18 months in prison, Shakur appealed and reached a deal with Marion Suge Knight, co-founder and head of Death Row Records, the top hip-hop distributor of the West Coast, getting the label to front his bail money while the appeal was pending in exchange for a 3-album deal. Now, record executive Leslie Gerard told the New York journalist Sheldon Pierce. Now, still stinging emotionally from the recording studio shooting and assault case that both happened in New York and Shakur feared were setups, Knight told Pierce a week after Shakur's death that Tupac had more than a financial connection to the Death Row. Now, Tupac loved Death Row, he said. Tupac loved me. I loved him also. That connection is elementally what put Tupac's life into jeopardy. Davis argued in the book Compton Street Legend, which has become a key piece of evidence in the case against him. Now, Davis, a member of the Crips, says Shakur's relationship with Knight could caught him up in the Los Angeles gang tough battles that had become woven into the rap game. The Crips were tight with Bad Boys record on the East Coast, while the Bloods, he said, supported and protected the Death Row music organization. At the Death Row, especially, there are no questions about the gang affiliations, said Cass. Now, Tupac mistakenly thought that Suge and the Death Row crew they were rolling with were untouchable and would protect him, Davis wrote. He seemed to have lost touch with the reality of the streets that everyone can be touched. His fresh association with Death Row also brought the new sounds of Tupac's Reposha Resignment and the label's breakdown star, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. Now, Shakur quickly took the intensity of the coastal rivalry, blasting his former friend Biggie Smalls and also known as the notorious B.I.G. or Big and Bad Boys top producer scene Puffy Combs in his hit "Em Up" and one of the rap's most unconscious brutal diss tracks that took on almost all East Coast rap royal name. With a Thug Life tattoo embossed in his arc above his navel, the letter I replaced a bullet casing. The Tupac of Dear Mama seemed to be in the real view, at least publicity. It was a very romantic to try designer, which is in real life, in which fractionized, Kias told CNN. And that is the news just getting in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to this YouTube channel. And peace.